A conservationist known as a defender of sea turtles has died after being wounded in an Israeli airstrike in southern Lebanon. Her name was Mona Khalil, and for more than 2 decades, she dedicated her life to protecting some of the most vulnerable creatures on the Mediterranean coast. Mona Khalil was 76 years old. She died on Friday at the American University of Beirut Medical Center, from injuries she sustained in an Israeli strike on June 4. Her passing was confirmed by a close friend, Fadia Joma. Her sister, Amal Khalil, described Mona as a well-rounded person, extremely tough, extremely kind. And then she added, simply, "Inside, I am angry." To understand why her death matters beyond the tragedy of yet another civilian life lost, and more than 4,000 people have now been killed in this latest round of fighting between the Israeli military and Hezbollah, you have to understand what Mona Khalil built, and why she built it. She was born in Lagos, Nigeria, to Lebanese parents, and she spent years living in the Netherlands, working at one point as a porcelain restorer. Then in the 1990s, she returned to visit her family's seaside home on the Lebanese coast, between Tyre and Nakura, a house her grandfather had built in the 1970s, abandoned during the Civil War, and dangerously close to territory that Israel occupied at the time. One night, walking on the beach, she heard something moving through the sand. It was a sea turtle, making her way ashore to lay her eggs. Mona Khalil described that moment years later to a reporter. "The first time I saw them, it was completely by accident. I suddenly heard a noise. It was a turtle creeping through the sand, coming to lay her eggs. That accidental encounter changed everything." She learned that 2 species nesting on that beach, the loggerhead and the green turtle, had been declared critically endangered by the World Conservation Union. Her plans shifted. She moved to Lebanon permanently in 2000. She transformed her family's home into a bed and breakfast she called Orange House, a nod to the Netherlands, and turned it into a hub for ecotourism and conservation. Guests could volunteer to protect turtle nests or clean the beach. She partnered with a colleague named Habiba Fayed to chase off the foxes, wild dogs, and crabs that preyed on hatchlings, making their first scramble toward the sea. War interrupted her work more than once. During the 2006 conflict, she and her partner had to flee because of nearby rocket fire. They came back 2 weeks later to find their house had been hit by a shell. She kept going. Over the years, she helped protect a stretch of beach that now holds more than 58 endangered sea turtle nests. She built a network of local communities, youth groups, volunteers, and environmental advocates. Asa Serhel, the Director General of the Society for the Protection of Nature in Lebanon, put it this way in a statement: "There are people who work for conservation, and there are people who become conservation itself." Mona Khalil was one of those rare individuals whose life, spirit, and daily existence became inseparable from the cause she dedicated herself to. Her friend Fadia Joma wrote that Mona used to say something kept pulling her back to the south, to the land she had left, and to a sea she never forgot. Mona had hoped to be buried facing that sea. As of her death, the war made it impossible to reach. Mona Khalil spent 25 years guarding a patch of shoreline so that endangered creatures could safely come ashore, lay their eggs, and send their young toward the water, and in the end, it was the war on that same shore that took her life.